So I'm not at my desk back there where we do most of our reviewing here at Digital DJ Tips. I'm actually sat at the production computer, and the reason for that is that what I'm reviewing is something that we've been using here at this production computer. And I think this is great. It's the ARC On-Ear headphone, DAC, amplifier, and a whole lot more from IK Multimedia. If you produce music on your headphones, if you make remixes and re-edits and bootlegs for your DJ sets on your headphones, even if you edit video like we do, tutorials and DJ mixes and so on, and you, again, do it in your headphones, I think this is going to really interest you. We've had it here in the studio for the last few weeks. It's just been launched today, but they've been revising the software for several weeks. We've been using it for several weeks, and I really like it. I can see myself using this going forward for exactly what I'm about to explain. So first I'll tell you what it is, then I'll show you how to set it up, and then I'll tell you why I think this is a really good little device. So as you can see, it's a little bit smaller than, say, an Apple TV, but it's the same kind of size. It's nice and heavy. That's because it's got a battery built into it. I'll explain why in a minute. It's got a big volume control on the front, which feels nice and damped. It's kind of like a nice material they've made that from. It's got a few buttons there. It's got some lights up there, which if I turn it on, you will see a few things kind of start to glow a little bit, but they will glow more when we plug it in. Around the back of it, it has the plug for plugging it in. This goes into your computer, this USB here. There's the on-off switch. Oh, there's the on-off switch I just pressed. And there's also an analog input here. So just bear that in mind, hold that thought. And up the side here, there are some lights that you can see there. And a few of these buttons, right? So that's what it is. So the idea with this thing is you plug it into your computer, right? Most of the time, and certainly to set it up, you're going to plug it into your computer. So that just goes into the USB-C on the back with the provided cable. And then you plug your headphones into it. Like that. I'm using my Sennheiser HD25s. These are the headphones I always use for editing, right? So I'm going to put the unit down now, and I'm going to show you the software that it comes with. So when you first plug your headphones in, and it's got hundreds of headphones in it, so I'll show you this now. When you first plug your headphones in and plug the unit in, you're going to be presented with software like this. And the very first thing you have to do is go down to the headphone selector and choose your headphones from the list. So you can just search for them, or in my case, I'm just going to go to the Sennheisers there. I'm going to find the HD25s. There we go. And there's other bits and pieces there to make sure you've got the right ones. Then you're good to go. So what it's shown you now is a frequency curve that is corresponding to your particular headphones. And what that means is that the unit will now drive your headphones to try and give you the best frequency response, a nice flat frequency response for those headphones, because it knows your particular brand of headphones and it knows the characteristics of these headphones. It can drive them very, very accurately. Because if you think about it, the headphone manufacturers don't know what you're going to plug their headphones into. They don't know the impedance of the amplifier you're plugging them into, the quality of it. They don't know its particular warmth or coldness or whatever. So they have to make a guess. So what you're hearing is necessarily a coloured sound. Now, if you're producing music, you're making remixes and bootlegs and mashups, or you're producing video like I do, you really need to know that what you're hearing in your headphones, if you're going to use them instead of speakers, is sounding good, is how it should sound. And so it kind of corrects the headphones. That's the first thing this software does. In order to do that, it needs to know the headphone model. So once you've done that, you now move on to the second thing it does, which is indicated by this area here on the software where it says Studio Simulation just at the bottom. And so Studio Simulation, which I've just turned on there, allows you to choose a sound stage. So imagine you were sat in a studio with speakers on your left and right, as you can see where my arrow is there, right? Now, you might decide that actually I like to have my speakers there or whatever. You've got room ambience here as well that you can select, which just gives you the kind of feel that you're sat in a room and not just listening to headphones. All of this is designed to make it feel like you have got yourself into a proper studio with proper speakers in front of you, even though it's all happening on headphones. Now, that might sound like snake oil, but consider this. Imagine if you were producing a piece of music. You know those old Beatles songs, right, from the 60s, where the drums are hard left and the vocals are hard right? Yeah, you've heard those songs. Now, if you listen to those on speakers, you can still hear the drums that are hard left in your right ear, and you can still hear the vocals that are hard right in your left ear, because of the room you're in and the reflections of the sound and the fact that just because it's all coming out of one speaker or the other it's still bouncing around and reaching both ears, right? It's just that what's panned hard left to the left speaker is going to be more in your left ear and so on. But not if you're using headphones. You put your headphones on and you listen to the early stereo mixes of those 60s bands. It sounds horrible because you've literally got, you know, John Lennon in one ear and Ringo Starr drumming in the other. So headphones do not give you that sound stage and that presentation of audio that everyone else will hear. And so you do need to think about that when you're producing music or doing anything with audio, mixing down audio. Therefore, you can have this studio simulation setting in this software, which lets you do that. You can say, this is what I want it to look like. So again, this area here is where that happens. So now we have got this is calibration, by the way. This is the bit that we need the headphone model for. So again, here you can just say, okay, well, now you've corrected my headphones. Actually, I feel like they need to be brightened up a bit or warmed up a bit, whatever. You can just tweak it there. But ultimately, this is your nice flat headphone response. This is now putting you in a nice studio with a bit of room ambience. So your headphones don't feel like they are on each of your ears. You feel like you're sat in a studio instead. Here's the third thing this does. So I'm going to press this button up here. I'll tell you why in a minute, where it says virtual speaker. And now I'm going to turn on this virtual speaker. So now I can select in here a speaker from a whole range of speakers it's got. Now, they don't put the brand names on these, but you can see by looking at these what they are. I'm sure you can recognize your speaker in some of these, right? So the idea here is that you say, okay, I want to audition my music on this speaker, this brand of speaker here that's unnamed, but everyone knows which one it is, right? So by pressing that, now we've got the speaker that you might have at home selected for these speakers here. So now the headphones that remember, you're just wearing a pair of headphones here, plugged into your computer. Your headphones have put you in a studio with the speakers where you want them. You've chosen the brand of speakers that you're going to be using. And it's corrected the headphones so that whichever brand, make, model your headphones are, they are definitely being driven with a nice flat frequency response, which is shown by those frequencies here. This is all really cool, right? This is something this company have been doing for speakers for a while. They build this kind of technology into their loudspeakers. Now they're building it into a little box that you can use with your headphones sat at your computer using Ableton or whatever. This is all pretty cool. And so you might say, well, actually, I've seen something like this before, and you might well have done, because you can get plugins for Ableton and so on, like VSTs, and you can get software that will do this for you on your computer. But the beauty about this is it's in hardware. Now, what that means is if I'm producing, I can switch from Spotify on my computer to my Ableton project to my DJ software, all just by selecting this on the computer. And so this is kind of agnostic. It doesn't matter where your sound's coming from. It'll work on everything. So you can audition a finished track against something you're making, for instance, to make sure it sounds good. But it gets even better for two reasons. So reason number one is you don't need that software, right? So that software on the screen, we've set everything now. I can go to that software, which I'm now doing off camera, close it. This box knows everything. I can turn on and off those three things we talked about here by pressing calibration, pressing studio, and the third button, which is just a function button, I set to be toggling on or off my KRK speakers with the yellow cone, right? That's what I did in the software when I pressed that button at the top. So that is doing that. You've also got the volume, which is superbly useful, by the way. I love having a big volume control on my desktop. And so that now doesn't need the software open. You can just use your computer like normal, send the audio to this, and it's going to work. So that's the first good thing. You don't need to have that application open that I used to set it up. The second great thing is, and this is what makes this indispensable, I think, you can unplug it. This will now work with an input plugged in around the back here. So you can plug anything into this and plug your headphones in, and it will do everything that we just talked about. It knows your favorite speakers, it knows the headphones you're using, it knows all that stuff we just talked about. It's all in there. So in the back, you could plug it directly into your DJ controller or your mixer. You could do it in a hotel room away from your computer, just listening to music. You could do it with a show reel of your own productions plugged in on, I don't know, your phone or something here. Of course, you can still use the built-in digital audio converter. It's a fantastic digital audio converter. All the information is in the attached article about this stuff by plugging into here, whatever you're using, but you've got the analog input as well. And the battery life is apparently about 4 hours on this once it's fully charged. So it's a pretty useful little device if mixing and even mastering audio on headphones is something that you like to do, you have to do, and you just think might be cool to do. In my case here in the studio, as I say, that's where we do all our filming, that's where we do all our lessons and where we do all the stuff here at the school. Where I'm sat now is where the video gets edited, where we pull in all the sound from back there, where we've got 2 people behind me speaking on mic, where we pull everything in and we listen to it. I haven't actually got room for speakers here, so to be able to do this on headphones here is really cool, and that's why I've been using this a lot, because I just found it really nice to be able to trust my headphones to give me what is going to sound good when it gets played on speakers. And by the way, when I showed you the different kinds of speakers you can use this with, you saw some different size studio speakers and so on. You can even choose a smartphone option. So you can literally say, what would my mix sound like on a phone? And it'll play that through these headphones, but yet it sounds like you're listening to a phone in the room. And so you can hear if that sub bass line that you wrote actually works at all on a phone. Probably won't. This is lovely. I really like this. If you are anyone who takes listening to music from a laptop or a computer seriously on headphones anyway, you probably already use some kind of DAC, digital audio converter, sat there on your desk, because you don't want to plug your headphones into the headphone socket on your computer. The quality's not there. So you probably use something like this anyway. This puts all that on steroids by giving you all those other things. It puts you in a nice room with the speakers you choose and corrects your headphones so you can trust what they sound like. And it can do it away from its own software, even away from your computer. It's the IK Multimedia ARC On-Ear. If you're interested, we've got a full written review, which you can see a link underneath for, with current pricing and a link to their website where you can learn more about it. As ever, this channel is paid for by you, our students. These people have not paid us to give you this review, and we do not earn anything when you buy this unit. I'm sharing this with you because we are using it here in the studio and we love it. ARC ARC On-Ear from IK Multimedia, and this has been the Digital DJ Tips review. Now get good, get out there, make the moments. I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.